Welcome to the Grand Theft World podcast, hosted by grandtheftworld.com. It is November 14th, 2021. This is episode 54, Cowards, Crooks, and Criminals. We have an action-packed and dense show to present for you tonight. And how we're going to start it off is I'll just give you a little glimpse. I did a feature interview this past week with Dr. Peter McCullough. And I think that death count that they made artificially go up, that helps them push their predetermined solution, which was a vaccine, which they started working on in January 2020 before they even gave us early treatments or any of that sort of stuff. And as new treatments and therapeutics came out, it seemed that they were each demonized and demonized and demonized and demonized throughout the year. I've noticed a pattern of these things. So thank you for bringing the copious amount of information, whether it's the iodine, which is very simple, it's very affordable, it's not out of stock anywhere, to the other things that are now being sequestered, like the antibodies, which I've had relatives take, to the ivermectin and HCQ, which there are various ways out there in the world to acquire it. If it's not at the pharmacy, you got to think out of the box sometimes. I know I had looked at the myfreedoctor.com. I live in one of the 3 states they're not allowed to do business with. So I was prevented from getting therapeutics, even though I was trying to be, proactive on these sort of things and help people out. So experimenting outside of having the early protocols for these hospitals. It's something that people have to learn how to read, become educated on, not just listen to you, but also check around. They just, people need to become more educated and less dependent on what someone who's a famous doctor on TV who talks to them a lot, who they think is their friend, Dr. Fauci, has to say. It's like, we have to check, we trust but verify. How about that? Would you recommend that? Is that a safe thing to say?
I would say let's just kind of increase the skill and competency of who's giving the directions here in the United States. We cannot have people who are not board certified, who've never seen a COVID patient, who's never treated a COVID patient. This is a mass casualty situation here. If we would have had a trauma surgeon running the operation, America would have been better off. We don't have time for large-scale randomized trials that take 2 to 5 years. We don't have time for government guidelines, which will take another couple of years after there's multiple randomized trials. The Institute of Medicine says from the time something is known to work to the time we implement it, 17 years. We don't have 17 years. We don't have 17 days. We needed doctors with guts who are willing to put their best foot forward, willing to potentially take a hit with the infection. Most of the people in my circles did get COVID-19, myself included, but take some risks and get these medicines in play. And, it wasn't perfect, but we found our way with what's called sequence multi-drug therapy. We did 2 very good outcome studies, one in Dallas. Proctor's the first author, 85% reductions in hospitalizations and deaths. This is one of some of the early protocols before we had a lot of the really powerful drugs. And Vladimir Zelenko and Derwand published as well. Again, this is peer-reviewed literature. You can go find these on the consistent 85% reductions in hospitalization and death. I would say now, with the monoclonal antibodies used appropriately and everything we've learned, we probably can reduce these hospitalizations and death by over 90%. It should be very rare that anybody gets hospitalized with COVID-19.
He gives early treatment options in great detail. This is going to be highly effective and efficacious for people who are looking to not be dependent outside of their household on their health. And also, we're going to get to see a rant by Tim Pool.
Adam Goldman of the New York Times. Evil. We've got to stop playing these games. This is a guy who got privileged legal communications under the United States Constitution and our laws and norms. You have a right to legal counsel. And the guy at the New York Times gleefully published this from a rival organization. Why? They want this country to burn. They want power, and they will get it by any means necessary, and they will use the power of the federal government to do it. I am looking at all of you right now, and I am telling you this. The police will kick your door in and bash your teeth out the moment Black Lives Matter protests you. We've already seen it happen. You think this is a joke? James O'Keefe's legal privileged communications were just given to the New York Times, and Adam Goldman, with a smile on his face, published it. He doesn't care about this country. He doesn't care about our norms. These people are at war with you, and they will burn your life to the ground like they're doing to Rittenhouse and like they're doing now to James O'Keefe because you dare oppose their power grab. This is not a joke, and it is getting worse. And in the next 10 years, as we enter the fourth turning and it escalates, it is going to get worse. James O'Keefe is a journalist. The federal government stole his privileged legal communications and gave it to the New York Times, who published it with a smile on their faces. These people do not hold your values. They do not believe in the Constitution. The prosecutor in the Rittenhouse case violated the Constitution. They will do it again. They will do it more, and they will burn down your town, and the feds will protect them, and the police will protect them. Stop thinking the institutions are on your side. This country is being corrupted, and we are watching it every day, and it has gotten to the point where you need to ask yourself, will the police protect you when someone comes to your town and threatens to kill you? No. The detectives in Kenosha, the state, the prosecutor went against the young man who was fleeing for his life. And James O'Keefe, an anti-establishment individual, and I mean that with respect, but he is outright just a journalist, is facing the boot of the authoritarian fascist government. And it will get worse, and it will happen to you because you keep complying. And you keep saying, but my kids need food. And now inflation is here, and there's food shortages, and your kids aren't eating. And the schools are indoctrinating your kids. Now we see a turnaround with Youngkin because the parents are standing up. But too many people keep saying, as long as I keep filleting the state and dropping on my knees for the far left extremists, I will squeak by, and you will not. The police will come to your home. They will kick your door in, and they will arrest you because the good cops have already started quitting. And like we saw in Seattle, the police arrested the man who was retreating from Antifa as Antifa approached him with clubs in hand. And they apologized to Antifa over it. Like we saw in the Chaz, when several men unloaded hundreds of rounds into an SUV, and then the extremists stripped the evidence from the vehicle, and none of those people are brought to justice. And now we are at the point where Project Veritas is having their private, privileged, legal communications leaked to the New York Times, who with a smile on their face violate all norms, all respect, and lack all scruples. And you think sitting back and complying will result in you getting by. You are wrong. I'm sick of this.
Preach.
He spoke with clear parrhesia during this week. He shared some of his thoughts and frustrations in such clarity that we want to focus in a little bit tonight on where those frustrations are stemming from, what the root causes are in our society. And also we have a clip tonight that's it's so good we should probably show it to you in the promo for this episode. It has to do with the use of virtual reality to take the sting out of the vaccines for the kids.
De tirar a agulha? Tem uma agulhinha. Tem, mas é pequenininha. A mãe tá aqui pra te ajudar. Eu não quero. Eu já tenho 5 anos. É só você usar o Eu tenho medo. Tudo bem, Luigi? Você gosta de super-herói?
Você voltou! Você voltou! Nossa, eu não posso acreditar! Ó, primeiro o pólen de gelo. É bem rapidinho. Vem cá, peraí. Pronto. Agora o fruto de fogo. Mas ó, vamos lá. Bem rapidinho. Peraí. Deixa eu pegar aqui. Vai, escudinho. Vai, escudinho. Funciona, funciona, funciona. Obrigada, obrigada!
Caramba, filho, o que você acha disso?
Legal.
É a primeira vez que eu vejo, em 15 anos da minha atuação profissional com vacinas, que a realidade virtual pode transferir a dor em entretenimento.
Ele chorou em todas que ele tomou desde que ele nasceu. E dessa vez não. Até achei que ele ia dar um showzinho aqui hoje.
Porque quando eu era pequena tinha medo, mas agora não tem mais não.
So instead of people actually getting the vaccine in reality, they're going to put the kids into virtual reality to give them their injections. So with that, we're going to go to tonight's show. We're going to kick it off. We're going to be talking about spike proteins later. But first, we're going to hear from Luke Rudowski from We Are Change and thebestpoliticaltshirts.com. He's going to give us a little bit of an update on how far these people are willing to go to take away our freedom in the name of the coronavirus.
If you haven't heard about our Grand Theft World community membership, here are a few of the things you've been missing. A mobile app where you can access replays of the Grand Theft World podcast and show notes. Access to the Grand Theft World community on Discord, where we crowdsource news and resources, and you can contribute to the show. The opportunity to participate in the Grand Theft World bi-weekly town hall. Exclusive content from Richard Grove, including behind-the-scenes footage and future access to unpublished material. 93 episodes of the Peace Revolution podcast, and the Grand Theft World newsletter delivered straight to your inbox each week. If you want to stay ahead of the great game, visit us at grandtheftworld.com, click or tap the button in the top right-hand corner, and join a vibrant community of researchers blazing a new path to truth. We'll see you there.